Constitution. The bill also seeks to align the Children Act of the Constitution, international and matters regional treaties and instruments dedicated for the promotion and protection of children's rights. Another bill that is set to be tabled is the Geriatric Bill, a bill by Gathoni wa Mushomba. And the bill seeks to give effect to Article 57 of the Constitution by establishing a legal framework for the treatment of older members of the society. The bill further seeks to improve the living conditions of older members of the society by providing for their rights to human dignity, safety, and matters security, education, health, and equality, and matters non-discrimination. The last bill that will be tabled for the first time is a bill by Honorable Kasait Kamket. The bill is the Traffic Amendment Bill, Bill number 60 of the year 2021. And the bill by Honorable Kamket is seeking to amend the Traffic Act Cap 403. This is to align it with the Constitution to facilitate the implementation of the traffic laws and matters regulations. The bill also seeks to provide a framework. This is for development of the strategies and ensure that operations in the traffic sector are conducted in compliance with the prevailing regulations. And finally, the bill seeks to harmonize the provisions of the Principal Act of the National Transport Authority, number 33 of 2012, regarding the regulations made under the Act with the traffic-related laws for the safety of road users as well as the general public. The bill has total clauses being 6 and seeks to streamline the operations in the traffic sector. The Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Cheboy, has just made his way into the chamber, and I'm now handing over for the live broadcast. Remember, you can also follow up on this live broadcast on our YouTube channel, on Parliament of Kenya, as well as on KBC Channel 1. Enjoy your viewing. Good morning.
Tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umeteua nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu, twakusihi ututazame kwa neema nyingi sisi tuwatumishi wako, ambaye umeridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba ututeremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako ziendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi hii yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Other members, obviously, as we approach elections, both primaries and the general election, we should be expecting more of this. That is to say that we do not have the required numbers. I'm not giving excuse for any member who is not here, but I'm just making a honest observation that this is one of the lowest numbers that we have had in a long time. Yeah. So I order that the bell be rung for 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Honorable Moses Cheboy, has decried of the low numbers in the chambers this morning, saying that this is the lowest ever recorded numbers in the chambers, and therefore ordering that the quorum bell be rung, and this is pursuant to Standing Orders number 35 of the House, to allow for members to make their ways into the chamber. On the entry of the chambers is a few members of Parliament, led by Member for Navaholo, who happens to be the Chief Whip of the National Assembly, and by all indications is that he's out of the House to whip members to get to the chamber to allow for the House to commence business this morning. This being a sitting that members' bills, also known as private bills, have been given priority for deliberations before the floor this morning. After the three bills are read and tabled for the first time before the floor, the House will move to the Committee of the Whole stage. And at the Committee of the Whole, a total of 4 bills are set for consideration before the Committee of the Whole. Just to mention a few is the National Management Authority, a bill by Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, Bill number 10 of 2019, the Public Service Amendment Bill, Bill number 27 of 2019 by Honorable Benjamin Mwangi, the Alcoholics and Control Bill, Bill number 70 of 2019 by Honorable Silvana Sosoro, is also a bill that will be considered by the Committee of the Whole this morning. The House will be resuming debate on the Community Health Bill, this being National Assembly Bill number 30 of 2020 by Honorable Martin Owino. And the House has about 1 hour to conclude debate on that particular bill. The Poverty Eradication Authority Bill, Bill number 13 of 2020 by Honorable John Waluke, is a bill at the second reading stage. The Public Procurement and Asset Disposals Amendment Bill by Honorable Patrick Wainaina, Bill number 20 of 2020, is also a bill that is also lined up for debate before the floor. The Sexual Offences Amendment Bill, being number 24 of 2020 by Honorable Gathoni wa Mushomba, is also another bill that members are set to make input on. The Insurance Professionals Registration Bill and the Health Amendment Bill by Honorable Alice Wahome. There is also a bill that seeks to regulate birth and death registration, Bill number 32 of 2020 by MP for Gilgil, Honorable Martha Wangari, that is currently at the second reading stage. And members will be resuming debate on that particular bill. The Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Bill number 11 of 2021 by Honorable Aden Duale is also a bill that members will be debating. Members of Parliament continue streaming into the chambers, and this is to allow for the House to raise at least 50 members to allow it commence with its business this morning. And the Wednesday morning session being a session where members or bills by private members are given priority for deliberations. And input by members of parliament. Pass on to standing orders number 42A, subsection 5. A couple of members of parliament will be fielding questions for reply before specified departmental committee and the member for Tiati, Honorable William Kamket, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Education that considering the severe drought being experienced in Tiati constituency and which has forced families to migrate, and this is in search of water and pasture for their livestock, what measures has the ministry put in place to ensure that school feeding program in the constituency continues uninterrupted and with a view of keeping learners in school? That particular question will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Matters Education and Research. Member for Magarini, Honorable Michael Kingi, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Education to provide a status report, and this is in regards to the financing of infrastructure for the Galana Teachers Training College and the stalled Waresa Technical College in Magarini constituency. What measures has the ministry put in place to develop the infrastructure at Galana Teachers Training College, as well as ensure that Waresa Technical College is completed and operationalized? Finally, Michael Kingi, Honorable Member for Magarini, will be seeking to understand the steps the ministry is taking to ensure deployment of adequate staff for the Galana Teachers Training College. Similarly, his questions will be fielded before the Committee on Education and Matters Research. Nominated MP, Honorable Godfrey Osotsi, will be fielding questions before the Cabinet Secretary for Matters ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs. And the Honourable Member wants the Ministry to provide copies for the quarterly quality of the service reports, if any. This is for all the licensed telecommunication operators in the country for the last 3 years. And could the Cabinet Secretary also provide a detailed report indicating all penalties, fines, and other charges paid by licensed telecommunication operators for the said period, specifying the name of each operator, incidents, period when the incident took place, quality of service, warning issued, if any, that parties involved, and the amounts paid. And finally, Honorable Godfrey Osotsi will be seeking to understand the actions the ministry has taken against licensed telecommunication operators or associated contractors who violate the law providing for poor quality services. The questions will be fielded before the Departmental Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation. Honorable Wilson Sosion will be fielding questions for reply before the Departmental Committee on Matters Finance and National Planning. And in his questions, he wants the National Treasury and Planning to explain the status of payment of pension for Mr. Johnson Kipngeno Langat, a retired teacher who served under the Teacher Service Commission until the year 2002. And when will Mr. Langat be paid his pension dues, considering that he already provided all the necessary documentation for the processing of the same? Pass on to Standing Orders number 44, subsection 2C. Honorable Kamau wa Mashukuru, the Member of Parliament for Kabete, will be seeking a statement, and in his request for a statement, it is about socio-economic empowerment for men, particularly those through expansion of access to finance to facilitate the initiation and the expansion of social enterprises. The statement on the socio-eco empowerment for men by Honorable Kamau Wamashukuru will be fielded before the Departmental Committee on Labor and Social Welfare. The National Assembly this morning has felt short of its quorum to allow it to transact business this morning, with a lot of bills lined up for debate before the floor this morning. The priority of debate has been given to Members' Bill and a couple of motions are also set for debate before the floor. The Circle Society Amendment Bill number...
Since we still do not have the required numbers, we add an extra 5 minutes. That's pursuant to the relevant standing orders. We give out 10 minutes. We are allowed to make an additional 5. The additional 5 is the final time allotted for members to be present.
With the lapse of 10 minutes as directed by the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Moses Sheboy, the House is yet to raise the requisite number. And so the Speaker has also ordered that the bell be rung for an extra 5 minutes. This is to enable or see if by the lapse of 5 minutes the House will have raised the number to commence business this morning. According to Standing Orders number 37, on when the quorum is not present, it is directed that when the quorum bell is ringing, members shall maintain orders in the House. And we witnessed Chief Whip Honorable Emmanuel Wengwe stepping out of the chambers to whip members to the House to allow the House raise the at least 50 members of Parliament present to allow the House commence business this morning. And the requirement of 50 members is also in line with COVID-19 provisions that the House has been adhering to. The Universities Amendment Bill, a bill by the Leader of Majority, Bill number 35 of 2021, is currently at the second reading. And members of Parliament will be making their input on that particular bill.
Order, members. Order. Order. Now business will begin. Considering that the Honorable Wangwe has just left to go and bring more members, and we can see we were missing only one. So we are considering Wangwe, who is actually walking in, as a number, and actually there are two. So let's proceed with business.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, under this particular order, we will start with questions, ordinary questions. To set us off is the member for Tiati, the Honorable Kamket.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to ask the following question. considering the severe drought being experienced in Tiati constituency, which has forced families to
Garini. Honorable Kingi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to ask question number 40 of 2022 to the Cabinet Secretary for Education. 1, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a status report regarding the financing of infrastructure development for Galana Teachers Training College and the stalled Waresa Technical College in Magarini constituency? 2, what measures has the ministry put in place to develop the infrastructure at the Galana Teachers Training College and also ensure that Waresa Technical College is completed and operationalized? 3, what steps is the ministry taking to ensure deployment of adequate staff at the Galana Teachers Training College? Thank you.
Very well. That will be replied to before the Departmental Committee on Education and Research. Next is a nominated member, Honorable Godfrey Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to ask question number 041 of 2022. And it reads, the question is directed to the Cabinet Secretary for ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs, and it reads, 1, could the Cabinet Secretary provide copies of the quarterly quality of service reports, if any, for all the licensed telecommunication operators in the country for the last 3 years? 2, could the Cabinet Secretary also provide a detailed report indicating all penalties, fines, and other charges paid by licensed telecommunication operators for the said period, specifying the name of each operator, incidents, period when the incident took place, quality of service, warnings issued, third party involved, if any, and amount paid? 3, could the Cabinet Secretary further provide detailed technical reports of the critical terrestrial infrastructure, namely NOFB1 and NOFB2, for the last 3 years, prepared on quarterly basis, pursuant to the provisions of the Kenya Information and Communication Act 1998? And lastly, what actions has the ministry taken against licensed telecommunication operators and or associated contractors who violate the law by providing poor quality service? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That will be replied to before the Departmental Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation. What is it, Honorable Andai?
Mr. Speaker, thank you. We are doing fairly well in terms of these questions. But Mr. Speaker, just out of concern, I can see you referring these questions to relevant departmental committees to deal with them in the usual manner. Mr. Speaker, I would have wished that even as these questions are being referred to those committees, we have at least a leadership representative of those committees, if not the chairperson, at least the vice chairperson or a member, taking notes and acknowledging that they have actually understood the questions being referred to them, just for good order, Mr. Speaker. So I don't know what I have to say about this, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, it would look like...
Of course, I agree with you, Honorable Andai, in terms of not only chairs being present, members, as many members as possible being present. It's it's a better way to handle this matter. But of course, I see the whip representing the leadership is in here, the majority whip. I see the deputy leader of my minority. I see the deputy minority whip. We have quite some leaders in the House. But in terms of questions, honorable members, what will be happening is that the chairs will be picking these from the Hansard. And as soon as questions have been asked, well, there is no time that a chair said I could not come to answer a question. I will not process a question because I was not present when it was asked. That is not, it can't happen. But of course, Honorable Andai, just like I expect you to understand, you're a seasoned member yourself. At this point in time, it's not very easy to get many members in the House, including chairs, because even those chairs are also happy participants in, elective politics. So even Andai, and I'm surprised that it comes from you, Andai, because you have actually been missing for a long time. Not in terms of, I know you have been very busy with committees. And your committee is actually one of the, it's doing very well. Remember, it has actually processed, you have actually been of a lot of benefit to the counties because you have processed the PSC reports up to a time that they are able to get almost as recent as possible. But when you are in those committees, the membership have not been asking your whereabouts because they assume that you must be dealing with some important things at committee. I'm also assuming that these other chairs are busy handling committee matters. So, whereas I agree with your concern, but I also am able to see that, and in any case, you can see some chairs are already here. Some very serious chairs, including the chair of administration and national security. He's here. Even a newly born chair also in charge of, I'm not so sure which committee. I'm sure I'm going to know that today more. In charge of ICT is here. I see there are quite a number of chairs who are here, very serious chairs. Yeah, you can imagine a newly elected chair, and she's already here, trying to take. I can see also the Honorable Tongi, another new kid on the block, is also here. I see the chairperson in charge of JLAC, a very seasoned politician. I can see Honorable nominee 001 wants to also pretend to be a chair. I'm not so sure which chair is sitting on other than the chair he is in now. Yeah. And also some chairs who have been in those seats before. I can see the member for Kikuyu. So what is it, Senior Counsel? Let me get another member. I hope it is not on this one. Because I think we have...
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, it is not to contradict or question your able guidance. It is only to seek further guidance. The question by the Honorable Godfrey Ososi, which is well put and has been well referred to the relevant committee, I happen to know that some aspects of it are actually also under discussion in the Public Accounts Committee, which is chaired by Honorable Andai. And so I was wondering, in such circumstances, when you refer it to the relevant committee, at what point do we get a nexus with the consideration and the report that will come from PAC? Or is it possible that as you refer it, you ask the committee also to liaise with the PAC so that there's some consistency within the House? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Dr. Otiende, I'm trying to struggle to see any contradiction between the relevant committee, which is in this instance the Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation, whose chair is actually in the House right now, and the Public Accounts Committee. Because I do not remember the last time we referred any question to PAC or even the Special Funds Committee. Because those ones statutorily have a certain mandate that some things are referred to them naturally, like the auditor's report and so forth. So in this particular one, I think the relevant departmental committee should be innovative enough. If there is any issue that they want to pick from PAC, they can do that. It's free, they can be able to do that. But really, in terms of question, we only deal with the departmental committees. So in this particular instance, I think we are okay. So, but I expect the new chair to move with speed. Honorable Chair. Well, I will proceed anyway because I think she's concentrating elsewhere. So let's move to the next question by the Honorable Socio.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to ask question number 042 of 2022, directed to the Cabinet Secretary of National Treasury and Planning. That one, what is the status of payment of pension to Mr. Johnston Kimngeno Langat of ID number 1774993, pension number 118125, a retired teacher who served under the Teacher Service Commission until the year 2000. 2. When will Mr. Langat be paid his pension dues, considering that he already provided all the necessary documentation for processing of the same? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. That one will be replied to before the Departmental Committee on Finance National Planning. So we go to the next segment, which is a requisition for statement by the Honorable Kamau Wamashukuru, member for Kabete.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of Departmental Committee on Labor and Social Welfare regarding socio-economic empowerment of men. Honorable Speaker, various funds and programs have been set up in the country to address the socio-economic empowerment of women, youth, and persons with disability through expansion of access to finance, to facilitate initiative and expansion of their enterprise. These initiatives include Youth Enterprise Fund, Women Enterprise Fund, and the Ways of Fund. The major aim of the said initiative is to provide accessible and affordable credit to support them start and expand businesses. The said funds and programs are aimed to enhance economic growth towards realization of the same and sustainable development goals in eradication of extreme poverty and hunger and promotion of gender equality and empowerment of women. Honorable Speaker, regrettably, there is apparent exclusion of men aged 35 years and above. This is despite the fact that entrepreneurship is widely recognized as the prime mover of economic development through translation of ideas into action, and persons in the 35 to 50 years bracket are key. This exclusion and neglect of men in this age bracket, which is the most productive and comes with numerous society expectations and responsibilities, has resulted to inequities and vulnerabilities that has seen them left behind, therefore undermining their potential as individuals. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Labor and Social Welfare. In the statement, the chairperson should address the following issues. 1. Which programs has the government set up to address the socio-economic empowerment of men over the age of 35 years in the country? 2. What policies and social practices has the government put in place to ensure that men are not discriminated, excluded, and left behind in its socio-economic empowerment program? 3. Could the government consider establishing an entrepreneurship fund to provide accessible and affordable credit to support men start or expand business or undertake meaningful economic activities? Mr. Speaker, that is why we are talking of bottom-up and pesa mfukoni in the hustling nation.
No.
Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, let me not get into that because I wanted you to read out your statement as recorded. But that will be referred, of course, to the relevant committee, which is this Departmental Committee on Labor and Social Welfare. Now, what is it, Honorable Mbui?
Thank you, Chair. Speaker, I I also want to seek your guidance on this issue of questions and statements. Some time back, I had a question to the Ministry of Education about some arbitrary regulations that they are coming through memos and circulars in the ministry. A case in point being the one for exam centers being collapsed, the one of use of school vehicles, the one of use of school fields. And Mr. Speaker, this question was referred to the Committee of Education. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, what happens is that statutory instruments are actually dealt with under the Committee of Delegated Legislation. Is it possible, Mr. Speaker, to organize that the questions that have to do with regulations are sent to that committee, because none of them end up at that committee? And so what the minister does is that he addresses the concerns without addressing the matters that are clearly spelled out in the Statutory Instruments Act, which states that any pronouncement by the minister must be put in the Kenya Gazette and brought to the House so that the House can deliberate and see whether to pass those regulations or not. Is it possible for you to assist so that some of those questions can go to the correct committee, which is versed with the way the statutory instruments are supposed to be processed, so that we can address those matters on behalf of Kenyans?
That what you have raised, the Honorable Mbu, is extremely heavy, because it requires quite some consultation. Because by dint of the way we ask questions, they basically are supposed to be answered to by the cabinet secretaries or the permanent secretaries or principal secretaries in their specific ministries. You have actually raised an issue which, requires some thought, including asking the Procedure and House Rules Committee to pick up that particular one. You see what also the Honorable Dr. Amolo earlier, Dr. Amolo Atiende had just also made that observation, is that there are also some issues which could be in PAC and can be, there are some issues which PAC also can come in. So there has to be a way where we are able to get a nexus between the relevant departmental committee and probably borrow the expertise of some of the other committees. And it is something that is something worth, and as it is now, it's not possible. But it's something that needs to be explored. So much as, of course, you have an issue which requires quite a number of other committees we'll still stick to the committee that was referred to. They probably can ask also the other committee, and in future we might ask those committees to put some input into those particular questions as they're being answered. Yes, and who is Honorable? What is it?
Speaker, thank you.
Is it on the
Speaker.
same thing?
Yeah, I have the same concern, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Some times ago, I asked a question on Rodi Kopany, a road which is not going very well, and communities are making a lot of noise. And for 3-4 times, I've been consulting with the chair of roads and infrastructure to talk to the ministry to come and answer that question. Later on, Mr. Speaker, I was given a written response of the questions without even me being someone to go and present the question. So I say I cannot accept this, because you should have called me to listen to the question to agree or not. Even he was surprised that there's a written version without a meeting taking place. So, Mr. Speaker, I need your guidance, because that's not how we do business.
Questions that require written responses are always indicated clearly. But this one of yours, I believe, is one that did not require written response. It required the presence of the CS. So that I direct that it be redone. Yeah, so let that one be. And I really wish the chair, Committee on Transport and Public Works, was here. That is something that is not satisfactory. In fact, what you are raising is that you are not satisfied with the written response, and what you expected was not a written response. You expected the CS to appear before the committee, answer, and then you can seek clarifications from there. So I think that one is one that needs to be done again. Now, Honorable Sankok, what is it?
Honorable Chair, thank you first of all for giving me this opportunity. Now that we have the Chairman of Interior Security Committee here, Mudhuri wa Modegi, the Order. Honorable that one mean
you don't. There are parliamentary languages, acceptable parliamentary languages, and we know them.
Yes,
there are actually two.
It means traditionally he was given that leadership staff as a Kikuyu elder. And only 2 of them have in this country, him and Uhuru Kenyatta. I think also our speaker also given. So, Honorable Speaker, I had asked a question.
What is it that you want from the Honorable Mwade this morning? Because really, with those kind of praises, it can be only leading to somewhere. What is your point of order, Honorable Ishungwa? Though he's also on a point of order anyway.
But Honorable Speaker, you know, I take offense when the good 001 who comes from Narok County and from the Ma community purports to be an expert on Kikuyu traditions. And what is actually said is actually not true. And because it's a House of Records, Honorable Speaker, I think it's only right that he corrects that only 2 people have what is called Mudhegi. That's the Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta and the Honorable Mwadi. The chair of the committee of Jaila, who is seated behind him, is also an elder and has it, Honorable Speaker. And so do I, and many others, Honorable Speaker. So it is only right that the Honorable Sanko comments maybe on those who hold the same staff within the Ma community, because he may know those, but not those in Kikuyu and Honorable Speaker.
I have known the Honorable Sanko for a long time. And before I even give the chair JLAC, I said I've known Sankok for a long time. I'm not so sure what he's actually trying to get out of the chair, administration and national security. There must be something, because it's not normal. It's not normal. But and again, for him to say that he's an expert in the field you just indicated, the honorable member for Kikuyu, I'm not so sure it's difficult for him to be not to have information. Looking at him, and I would not want to go beyond what I've said, he looks like he might be having some information. But let's hear from the member for Kangema.
Yeah,
probably, you know, I'm not so sure you have the staff yourself.
That's why member for 001 happened to be a Kikuyu. You become a Kikuyu through your mother. And this man's mother is his mother is Waidera. So I don't know what Honorable Chongwa is talking about, because this is brother is a Kikuyu. So and all it meant is a leader. Simply is leader. It's like the word safari is not little English, but it is the usage will take currency.
So
in due course.
As you progress,
so Mudegi simply means an elder, which Kimani Chongwa, Honorable Kimani, is not. So
are you?
It means a respected elder. He is too young.
Yes.
My colleague here is.
And I'm asking, how about you, the honorable?
I am sure you are. You are honorable.
No, I'm saying
speaker.
you, not.
You are. I'm sure. I can assure you, you are, and you'll be acceptable. But the member for Kikuyu. The member for Kikuyu is not here.
So by virtue of his age, he cannot be an elder. That's what you are saying.
Not necessarily age. Conduct. There are many other considerations. Respectability, the way he carries himself.
Is the fact that he's an alumni of Alliance not considered?
No, it is not.
Okay. Then we should leave it there. We would not want to delve into
not only him, even his mentor, Kare Francis, is not.
Yeah.
So it is a question of him. He has to come and talk.
So we will leave it there.
He has to come and talk to the elders.
We will leave it there. The honorable member for Kangema. Now, from the description of what you've just indicated, there is a probability that the statement by the honorable Sankoki is not factual, because it means, other than the 2 which he had mentioned, there is a probability, and it looks very likely, that the third one can be seen even in this house, who is the member for Kangema. So anyway, let's leave that for now. We can discuss that in other areas. So the Honorable Sankok, now please go to the point, because I think you have made all the niceties that you could to praise your colleague. Now say what you want.
I'd say there are 3 of them, and there are stages, and even Kimani Ushungwa have graduated, or he have progressed from butchara. You know, he had a butchery in Kikuyu. Now
I can see Honorable Sanko.
So I had asked a question.
Honorable Sanko.
Yes, sir.
I can see there is a lot of maternal influence in your thinking. But let's proceed now to the main issue.
You know, it is only Honorable Muturi who knows that my mother is a Kikuyu, but my mother is a Maasai. Anyway, Honorable Speaker, I had asked a question on the 15,000 acres purported owned by the Deputy President in Laikipia. And I have never been answered that question. And Honorable Mwadhi had started by praising him, that he's a Mudhuri or Mudhegi, who never lie. And I don't know on this question why they never answered me when the Interior CS, Matiang'i, came to this house, lied on the Hansard that William Ruto owns 15,000 acres of land in Laikipia. And he said that let that land be subdivided and be given to hustlers. Up to now, we have not known the status of that land. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, as I go to sit, there is somebody by the name Honorable Kamau Wamashukuru. And you know, this guy is saying that the men from the age of 35, from his statement that you have just read,
and
that
please,
they have been...
Please don't use that term, guy, on your colleagues.
Oh, this honorable member, Honorable Kamau...
Let's learn to appreciate each other's titles.
Yes.
Sometimes they are not they are temporary. So
Honorable member of Kabete, Honorable Wamashukuru.
Yes.
Wamashukuru. The honorable member had sought a statement on the status of men above the age of 35. You know, we have the youth fund for men below and women below 35. We have the women enterprise fund. We have all affirmative action targeting those. But when it comes to men of the age bracket in which I am, and Honorable Nyikal is, and you, Honorable Speaker, is 35 years and above, they are not targeted. We are an endangered species. So you want to know what measures have been put in place so that also we can be targeted.
Order, take your seat now.
Thank you, Honorable.
You know, you cannot buttress a statement by your colleague. Even if, for example, to raise that now because 35 and above are endangered, probably they should have nomination to Parliament. No. I think what we need to do is to allow him to process whatever he has asked, and when it is going to be responded to, you will have all the opportunity to, to Honorable Sankok to, participate in the discussion. On the first one, and now realize, of course, there was something you are looking for, and you're actually looking for answer to your question. So maybe just a quick one, the chair, what is the status of that particular matter? Many times there are many good reasons. Is it possible that it is going to be coming soon so that the nominee does not have to praise you very hard in the morning?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, Honorable Sankok is not wrong. In terms of the hierarchy of leadership in Kikuyu culture, I rank at the top, among the top. So let there be no doubt that Mudhuri wa Mudhegi is just any other. There are stages, and I'm 3 stages from the top. Honorable Speaker, on the second part about the question, Honorable Speaker, that question was submitted to the Minister, but there was pronouncement, Honorable Speaker, that at the end of the last session, that those ones had lapsed. But if indeed he wants to raise that matter again, I'm ready to respond, Honorable Speaker.
Maybe I'll confirm whether that actually had lapsed, because we had done the standing orders in such a way that they, spill into the next sitting. We'll confirm that, the Honorable Sankok, and then ask, of course, why it should have been answered quickly so that they do not lapse. But that being the case, Honorable Sankok, you have raised the issue, it will be followed up. So I think we can stop it there. That will be confirmed. I would want you to ask from the clerk's department, specifically the ones who deal with processing of question, so that we see how you can be able to sort out the matter. It's something that will be handled there. That should not be a problem. It's administrative. It's administrative, Honorable Sankok. So let's not open it up. We will confirm. Then you should be getting an information soon. Okay. Thank you very much. But in the meantime, on the issue of the matter of labor, I would have been happy for them to give us timelines. Now that we're getting to the tail end of our our term, we should be able to know how things are going to be processed fast. And since I cannot see the chair labor, we give them 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Order number 8, the Children, number 2 bill, National Assembly Bill number 49 of 2021, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to give effect to Article 53 of the Constitution to make provision for parental responsibility, fostering, adoption, custody, maintenance, guardianship, care, and protection of children, to make provision for and regulate the administration of children's institutions and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 9, the Geriatric Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2021, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to give effect to Article 57 of the Constitution to establish the National Council for Older Persons of Society to provide for the care, protection, and empowerment of older members of the society, to provide for the maintenance of well-being, safety, and security of older members of society, and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 10, the Traffic Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 60 of 2021, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Traffic Act, Cap 403, and for connected purposes.
Next order. Now, honorable members, before we go to the next order, the Honorable Benjamin Gadhiru Mwangi, the member for Mpakasi Central, who was processing the Bill on Public Service Commission Amendment, Bill National Assembly Bill number 27 of 2019, has written requesting that the matter be deferred. Well, whereas we will accept that deferral, I think it is extremely unfair, honorable members, because members should not do it at the just before we come to the House to process it. Because the net effect is that you will be losing out on a matter that could have been handled that a member was ready on in terms of the private member's bill. So in future, should a member want to have it deferred, they should be able to communicate early enough so that the order paper reflects the changes, and if there is an opportunity, another member is given an opportunity to process their bills. So in future, I do not think we should be allowing members to withdraw just an hour or two before, the matter is transacted here. So then, therefore, it means we'll only be handling the Disaster Management Authority Bill and the Alcoholic Drinks Control Amendment Bill. And on this particular one, there are a few amendments that have been approved and therefore will be circulated so that the members can familiarize themselves as the first one is being dealt with. So then we move to the next order.
Order number 11, Committee of the Whole House.
can use it.
It's okay, you can just use it.
Order. Honorable members, you are in committee of the whole House. There is just a little bit of housekeeping. We should be kicking off in the next few minutes. Just a little patience. We should be able to proceed in a few minutes. Honorable members, we shall start with the National Disaster Management Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2019.
Clause 3.
I propose the question that clause 3 be part of the bill. There's no amendment to that, honorable members. I therefore put the question that clause 3 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
I propose the question that clause 4 be part of the bill. There are proposed amendments by the committee, the chair committee. The elder.
Yes.
He was elder on the block, as I learned today.
Yes.
But you are the chair. Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I propose that clause 4 be amended as per the order paper, and this is to enable access to services to all parts of the country and not just a few counties.
I propose the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the chair. The Honorable Manzo.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I rise to support the Chair on that amendment. The first bit of it was selective and across the country and the regions. You remember, Chair, currently counties are clumped into regions because of the new constitution. So the first, as the article was, Chair, it was segregative and was unconstitutional, and therefore now it has been constitutionalized. I support.
I put the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. So I now put the global question that clause 4 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 5.
I propose the question that clause 5 be part of the bill. Chair, there are quite a bit of amendments to this.
Yes, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 5 be amended as per the order paper, and the justification, Honorable Chair, being that this is to provide for coordination of disaster management activities at national and county level by the authority. I thank you.
I propose the question that clause 5 be amended as proposed by the chair. I see interest from the Honorable Martin Owino, the member for Ndiwa.
Thank you, Chair. I really want to support the Chair on this and the committee. But as we do this coordination, I think it will need wider thinking of linkage to the lower people, the villagers, the first responders, and all that. If not covered here, because these are areas where either problem brewed to bring disaster or an information can be given. I'm talking about the access roads, toll-free numbers, and energy. Yeah, it's done as a surface level, but I would just love to have some details. I'm not opposing, but I'm just warning that those lower cadres are very, very vital in dissemination of information.
I now put the question that clause 5 as amended. Yeah? As amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. And now put the global question that clause 5 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
I propose the question that clause 6 be part of the bill. There are proposals to amend by the chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I propose that clause 6 be amended as per the order paper, and this is to ensure that the powers of the authority are placed in the same clause, just to tidy up, Honorable Chair.
I propose the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the global question that clause 6 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Honorable members, the global question. And now put the global question that clause 6 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
I propose the question that clause 7 be part of the bill. There's no amendment to this. I now put the question that clause 7 be part of the bill. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Will as many as the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
I propose the question that clause 8 be part of the bill. There's amendment by the chair.
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 8 be amended in accordance with the order paper. And this basically, Chair, to align the provisions to Mwongozo guidelines that the board in particular, in nature, therefore, the board is peculiar in nature, therefore, there is need to include more members from the national government sector, which number exceeds the number of persons provided for in the guidelines that guide the conduct of the board activities.
I propose the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed by the chair. The Honorable Dr. Makali, you have something to say to this?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I support.
Very well. Honorable members, I now then put the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many as the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I then put the global question that clause 8 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many as the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
I propose the question that clause 9 be part of the bill. There's no amendment to this. I now put the global question that clause 9 be part of the bill. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Will as many as the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 10.
I propose the question that clause 10 be part of the bill. Chair?
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 10 be amended as per the order paper. And this basically, Honorable Chair, to align it to the Mwongozo guidelines that the members shall hold office for a term of 5 years.
I propose the question that clause 10 be amended as proposed by the chair. I see interest from the Honorable Member for Kikuyu, Honorable Kimani.
Thank you, Chair. I rise to support and indeed, Honorable Chair, thank the Chair of the committee for that, because at the time we drafted this bill, that was indeed an oversight. It should have been in line with the Mwongozo policy, where we have 2 terms of 3 years each. And it's indeed good that the chair of the committee and the committee noted that and have rectified, and I support.
I now put the question that clause 10 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the global question that clause 10 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 11 and 12 and 13.
I propose the question that clauses 11, 12, and 13 be part of the bill. There are no amendments to this. I therefore put the question that clauses 11, 12, and 13 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
I propose the question that clause 14 be part of the bill. Chair, you have proposals to this to amend?
Yes, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 14 be amended as per the order paper. And this basically, Honorable Chair, to open qualifications to other relevant fields related to disaster management, so that they are also able to apply. I thank you.
I propose the question that clause 14 be amended as proposed by the chair. I see interest from the Honorable Toom, member for Nandi.
Chair, I support. We need other qualified men and women to apply. We don't need it to be closed. I support.
I now put the question that clause 14 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. And now put the global question that clause 14 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 15, 16, and 17.
I propose the question that clauses 15, 16, and 17 be part of the bill. There are no amendments to this. I now put the question that clauses 15, 16, and 17 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as the contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 18.
I propose the question that clause 18 be part of the bill. Chair, you're proposing to delete?
Honorable Chair, thank you. I propose that clause 18 be amended as per the order paper, and this basically because the powers of the authority are already provided for, and the performance of their duties is also provided for.
I propose the question that clause 18 be deleted as proposed by the Chair. The Honorable Kimani, member for Kikuyu.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think I support. I had seen like it was complete deletion, but indeed it's not a deletion, it's reordering, because what he has done is taken clause 18 and made it H of clause 6.
Correct.
So it's okay.
That is. But for purposes of neatness, it is a deletion. So therefore, members, I now put the question that clause 18 be deleted as proposed by the Chair. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as that opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25.
I propose the question that clauses 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25 be part of the bill. And now put the question that clauses 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24, and 25 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as our contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 26.
I propose the question that clause 26 be part of the bill. Chair.
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 26 be amended as per the order paper, and the justification is that the main function of Cabinet Secretary is to develop policy, and as such, state agencies are part of stakeholders in the process. Honorable Chair.
I propose the question that clause 26 be amended as proposed by the Chair. I put the question that clause 26 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. And now put the global question that clause 26 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35.
I propose the question that clauses 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35 be part of the bill. I now put the question that clauses 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clauses. New clause 21A.
The mover to move second reading of the new clause.
Honorable Chair, I move that new clause, just 1 minute.
21A.
New clause 21A be now read a second time. Honorable Chair, this is a clause that going by the age we are in, the digital age, that will enable the authority to develop and maintain an electronic database that is to contain information for the use by public and any other institution, and that is that will make the work that we'll be doing, Honorable Chair, quite easy.
I propose the question that new clause 21A be now read a second time. I see interest from the Honorable Manzo, member for Makueni.
Yes, Chair, this seems to be very substantive amendment, Chair, and seems to enrich what was originally there by the Honorable Ichungwa. And the Chair, although the chair of the committee, Honorable Mwathi, has explained briefly that it is going to be electronic, you can see the inclusion of non-governmental organizations involved in disaster management. And Chair, I want to support this because when disaster strikes of whatever nature, whether it is earthquake, whether it is a tsunami, or the sea has an earthquake and has flown into the city, or fire, or when you are struck by terrorists, like you saw last time, we had to get experts from Israel. And I believe that is covered generally there because of the non-governmental organizations in disaster management and experts. And there's a time we had to get people from Israel to come and help rescue our people because they are used to that kind of thing. So I think the inclusion is important so that when we have such a situation, Mr. Speaker, Chair, we are not constrained by law. While disaster needs to be attended immediately to save life. I support.
The Honorable Dr. Owino, Martin Owino, the member for Ndiwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to support the chair in this, especially the part D, which talks of emergency response capacity building across the board. This is very timely, and thank you, Chair. I support.
The Honorable Dr. Makali, you have something?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I also want to support this amendment, being a committee member, because the amendment, Honorable Chair, brings some very important aspects of disaster management. The first one, Honorable Chair, is where we are talking about the bodies involved, so that we have a data bank of all the bodies involved. The second one is where we are saying the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics will also be providing information, and more so, disaggregated data relating to issues, disaster. So, Honorable Chair, I think to me this amendment is very good, and it's going to improve the current situation where we have a lot of disorganization when it comes to management of disaster. I support.
Well, honorable members, allow me then to put the question that new clause 21A be now read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now propose the question that new clause 21A be part of the bill. I now put the question that new clause 21A be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clause 21B.
Mover to move reading of new clause 21B.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I move that new clause 21B be now read a second time. And this clause, Honorable Chair and members, basically relates to developmental disaster management plans. And this will enable the authority, therefore, once they have these plans, to have collaborative efforts within the counties and other stakeholders, which are very, very essential, Honorable Chair, in managing and preventing disasters in our country. I thank you.
I propose the question that new clause 21B be now read a second time. The Honorable Manzo.
The chair has used plan. Should it not be a policy? Although now this law should have in the first place been informed by a policy, and it be a private member's bill by the Honorable Uchungwa of member for Kikuyu. Now you are talking of plans, where I believe plans could also include policy or preparation in the event of a disaster, some guidelines which could be followed. I believe that could be the case, or a part of legislation which could be delegated later on under this law. So if kindly could clarify or how you will include the policy and any other plan which could amount into delegated legislation. Thank you.
The Honorable Two, Member for Nandi.
Honorable Speaker, I support development of plans. The national government and the county governments have to be incorporated, and there should be a planned way of dealing with disasters. Occasionally, the disasters in the country are being dealt haphazardly. No finances have been set aside, but the county governments will have their finances and the national government, so that everything which will be done in a planned manner. I support.
The Honorable Ishungwa, member for Kikuyu.
Chair, I support the particular amendment, and just listening to what the Honorable Manzo is saying, it's indeed true that if it was a policy, it would be better, but it's also equally important that disaster management plans are reviewed regularly, because we run the risk of having a policy in books, but because nobody sits to regularly review the disaster management plans, then between the many state and other organs that are involved in disaster management, Honorable Speaker, then we run the risk of just having policies that are there in books but are really never implemented through plans. And it's indeed good that the committee thought of this kind of amendment, and I support.
Honorable members, I now put the question that new clause 21B be now read a second time. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as were contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now propose the question that new clause 21B be part of the bill. Allow me then to put the question that new clause 21B be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clause 21C.
Mover.
Honorable Chair, I move that new clause 21C be now read a second time. Honorable Chair, this is basically dealing with classification disasters, and the aim of the clause is to provide for the entity that determines whether an event or a disaster or a situation or a class of event or a situation is to be treated as an emergency or a disaster, as well as to provide for the roles of both levels of government in the event of a disaster, in assisting victims of disaster by providing relief, preventing or combating disruption, or dealing with effects of disaster. And basically, Honorable Chair, to avoid duplicity in the two levels of government, so that they have concerted efforts.
I propose the question that new clause 21C be now read a second time. The Honorable Dr. Makali.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I rise to support this amendment. That is the new clause 21C. And what is very important to me, Mr. Chairman, is the issue of determining the magnitude and severity of the disaster. This is critical, Mr. Chairman, because we have seen at times the government being accused of treating disaster in a kind of a biased way. That disaster occurs in one region and it occurs in another region. The way the government reacts to disaster differs from one region to another. So when we have a clear framework on how to determine the mechanism, the magnitude and severity of the disaster, it is very good for the country. I support.
The Honorable Shungwa.
Chair, this is indeed a good amendment. Honorable Chair, if the most recent event to occur, Honorable Speaker, you remember the collapse of the mines in Bondo. And if we had an authority that would have assessed this disaster and classified it whether it is a national disaster or a county level disaster, then be able to mobilize resources to cater for the needs that would be there in that particular disaster. And it is indeed sad, Honorable Speaker, that a young man in Bondo stayed underneath. I don't know if even up to date, Honorable Speaker, that body was ever recovered. But you can imagine if we had such an authority at the time of the collapse of that mine, and they were able to determine that this probably, even having happened within a rural setting in Bondo, it is a national disaster in terms of the level of equipment and management and expertise that is required in that area, Honorable Speaker. Maybe we will not have lost the lives or the life that we lost in Bondo, and therefore I want to support this, because in future the authority now will be able to determine the magnitude of a disaster, whether you need resources that may outstrip what is available locally at the county level, and be able to mobilize resources either nationally or from other experts and development partners. Thank you, Chair.
Well, the Honorable Martin Owino, the member for Ndiwa.
Thank you, Chair. This is well done, and especially number 7, which says, despite all the classifications, the two levels of government can still assist each other. I think that is wonderful. I support.
And now for the question, the new clause 21C be now read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I then propose the question that new clause 21C be part of the bill. And now put the question then that new clause 21C be part of the bill. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Dear.
New clause 21D.
Mover, new clause 21D.
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 21D be now read a second time. Honorable Chair, this clause relates to declaration of state of emergency, and under Article 58 of the Constitution, the President can declare a state of emergency pursuant to any disaster that may affect the country. This allows, Honorable Chair, that the country may also focus on the disaster, and that we put our resources to alleviate the effects of such disaster. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
I propose the question that new clause 21D be now read a second time. Honorable members, the Honorable Manzo.
If Honorable Chungwa could whether agree or clarify, or the chair, you know, Article 58 deals with quite a number of issues, but this particular national disaster probably could have been given what qualifies to be a national disaster, to what maybe in several counties, or is it an attack, or is it a war, or is quite 58 deals with quite a number of things, including a national disaster of that big magnitude. Because for it to be national, then it must cover quite a large part of the country, and hence that declaration by the President, by Gazette notice, and probably other activities be stopped so that the country can deal with that to save lives. If the two could clarify further, I thank you.
Honorable members, I now put the question that new clause 21D be now read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, I propose the question that new clause 21D be part of the bill. And now put the question that new clause 21D be part of the bill. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Will as many as that opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New Part 4A. New Clause 27A.
Mover to move new Clause 27A under new Part 4A.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I move that new Part 4A be part of the bill, and I move also that new Clause 27A be part of the bill. Honorable Chair, the entire Part 4 contains provisions on the bodies and particular functions related to disaster management at the county level. It also establishes disaster management committees in each county to act as the focal point of the coordination of disaster risk management activities at the county level and to liaise with the authority, so that we are cascading this one from the national government to the county governments, and even within the county governments to have disaster management committees.
Then what you have done is very good to give the overview, but now we need to go clause by clause. So you will move new clause 27A so that we deal with it one at a time.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I move that clause 27A be now read a second time. And this clause relates to the establishment of county disaster management committees to deal with disasters at the county level.
I propose the question that new clause 27A be now read a second time. Dr. Makali?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I want to support the new clause 27A because this is very important, Honorable Chair. It is discussing the county disaster management committees in terms of membership, in terms of how long they'll be serving, which is 3 years, and in terms of their what I'll call the terms of engagement, because they're going to be part-time committee members. And this is very important, Mr. Chairman, because in the past, the reason why we have been having challenges managing disasters in this country is because there's no coordinating body. So when you have a committee like this, Mr. Chairman, it is obvious that when something occurs, the chair would convene a meeting immediately, and they'll be able to come up with very clear strategies on how to address this matter. So to me, this is the really right for this country, and we're on the right track. I support.
Honorable members, I now put the question that new clause 27A be now read a second time. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of our opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I propose the question that new clause 27A be part of the bill. And now put the question that new clause 27A be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of our opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clause 27B.
Chair, move second reading.
Honorable Chair, I propose that new clause 27B be now read a second time. This clause, Honorable Chair, relates to the functions of the county committee, which basically includes advice to the county government, formulate disaster management, and also make recommendations on the plans to be put in place so that they're able to deal with a disaster at the county level.
I propose the question that new clause 27B be now read a second time. The Honorable Ishungwa.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and I rise to support Honorable Chair. As the Chair has said, part of the functions of the disaster management committee at the county level will be to establish and implement a county early warning
an emergency communication strategy that is in line with the National Early Warning and Emergency Communication Strategy. Honorable Speaker, you realize many of the disasters that we are faced with in Kenya, be it landslides in Elgeyo Marakwet, in Murang'a, or the perpetual floods in Budalangi, are things that if there is an early warning system, Honorable Speaker, developed both at the national and county levels, are things that we could avoid and probably avoid loss of lives and property if there is an early warning mechanism that people are warned and the communication is effectively pilfered onto the ground for people to be able to move in areas where they face a disaster or danger. And therefore, I rise to support and pray that when this law comes into effect, our county governments will move with speed to ensure that there will be no longer loss of life or property because people are not warned in advance, including what are otherwise, I don't know whether to call them man-made disasters, Honorable Speaker, because there are things that happen every now and then, and we know they are bound to happen, but we end up doing nothing, Honorable Speaker. And we have county governments, I am sure now with these committees, they'll be able to advise their people and even advise the county governments and even the county assemblies and county executives as they prepare their budgets. You will be able to prepare a budget in Murang'a, having funds, for instance, during the rainy season, where landslide to occur, there will be resources on the ground for that people to be able to deal with that disaster. I support.
Indeed, the Honorable Ishungwa, the exciting thing about this proposal is that we will now have a reference point when these things happen where we can refer to. The Honorable Wino, Member Fondiwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now I'm very happy because what I was looking for is well taken here and I really support. M says devolve disaster management measures and structures to the sub-county and village level. That one is well done. Thank you, I support. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, allow me then to propose to put the question that new clause 27B be now read a second time. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I propose the question that new clause 27B be part of the bill. I now put the question that new clause 27B be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clause 27C.
Mover.
Honorable Chair, I move that new clause 27C be now read a second time. Honorable Chair, clause 27C relates to the powers of a county committee, and it's very important that the moment you create such a committee, then you give it powers to do the duties that fall under them. And basically this provides that they may receive grants, gifts, and donations towards making or addressing issues of disaster, and also undertake any activity necessary for the execution of its function, so that we are saying once the committee is in place, let us give it power to execute that mandate that they have been given. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
I propose the question that new clause 27C be now read a second time. The Honorable Oku Kaunya, member for Teso North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support. I support this new clause 27C because the powers the committee will have include powers to be able to raise money, because most of the time resources in terms of disaster management are a big question. Also, the power of the committee to access certain areas, for example, where water is required for purpose of, say, a disaster involving fire. So I support this because these powers are key to success of disaster. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I put the question that new clause 27C be now read a second time. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I propose the question that new clause 27C be part of the bill. I now put the question that new clause 27C be part of the bill. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clause 27D.
The mover, 27D.
Honorable Chair, I move that new clause 27D be now read a second time. And this clause, Honorable Chair, relates to vacation of office for members of the committee, which we have already created in the previous clauses. And this specifically means that the moment we put a committee in place, Honorable Chair, we have to get mechanisms of how people get appointed and also how they can leave that committee, and especially so when it comes to the conduct of business, and of course when it relates to violations or otherwise of Chapter 6 of the Constitution in terms of integrity. So this is basically to provide for how one can vacate office of that committee. I thank you.
I propose the question that new clause 21D be now read a second time. 27D be now read a second time. The Honorable Jared, you don't seem to have your card. Yes, but proceed.
I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, that clause is very important. We have seen cases where there is no succession plan and people are left wandering in limbo. So this clause does put remedies towards that lacuna that commonly arises in situations where people vacate offices. There is no historical background of the organization, no one has the history, and the succession becomes quite a nightmare. So I really support that clause by my friend Honorable Muhathi. Thank you.
I put the question that new clause 27D be now read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I propose the question that new clause 27D be part of the bill. I now put the question that new clause 27D be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? Ayes.
Sources of income, and when we look at the tenet of this bill is actually to ensure that there is proper identification of resources in the county and also utilization and exploitation of resources in the county. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we must be alive to the fact that in 2010, when devolved units, Kenya, was devolved, it meant that every county government needed to be independent, needed also to have its own development goals, which are actually sustainable. Honorable Speaker, this bill comes to really ensure that county resources are identified, utilized, managed appropriately so that there is sustainable income in counties, Honorable Speaker. And it is a constitutional, requirement, Honorable Speaker, that counties are supposed to look for ways of, getting its own monies, Honorable Speaker. So revenue is core. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to counties, it must be very clear that counties are agents of development. And if counties do not spearhead development, then we'll have failed as devolved units. So there's need to ensure that counties are able to be good agents of development to ensure service delivery to the common man. Honorable Speaker, when you look at the Constitution, there's a whole section that talks about the objects of devolution. And when it comes to this section, we see very clearly that the Constitution desires that democracy is promoted in counties, and that the people are able to manage, to exercise their powers, and also there is promotion. When you look at the same 174D, it talks about promotion of socio-economic development in counties. Now, Honorable Speaker, this bill comes in to ensure that Article 174 of this Constitution is implemented. It is enshrined in law about the devolved units. It is enshrined in law the objectives, the objects of the devolved units. But, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to equitable sharing of resources, when it comes to counties developing themselves and managing themselves, there must be a way out. And the way out is implementing what the Constitution really states about county governments, because it is very straightforward what the Constitution says about the objects of the devolved counties, Honorable Speaker. And when we are talking of county governments, Honorable Speaker, county governments are very rich and powerful tools of reaching out to the common man, of ensuring that resources are delivered effectively and everyone benefits from the national cake, Honorable Speaker. And that is why county governments are there. Honorable Speaker, this bill comes in to give a definition of resources. Now, the definition that is given in this bill is very important, because when we are talking of resources, according to this bill, it touches on factors of production, which are very core in development. It defines resources also as land, labor, and capital. And, Honorable Speaker, development cannot be there without these three. Land is very important. And as a factor of production, we can hardly do anything without land. We need land, Honorable Speaker. And when we are talking about counties developing themselves, county executives must really scratch their minds and see what exactly can they do with the land in the county to ensure it is productive, to ensure that it has sustainable development, Honorable Speaker. There are some counties that have even come up with projects of building houses and even selling, selling out. I'm not sure whether there are counties that have done that. I think that is a slip of the tongue. I want to suggest this. When it comes to land as a factor of production, there are many ways in which land can be utilized. For instance, land that is viable in counties can be used to construct houses. And these houses can be mortgaged or they can be sold out. They can also just belong to the counties so that they can be rented out. And that can be a sustainable way of earning an income, Honorable Speaker. County executives must know that the land that is there in counties, they need to utilize. And even if they are not able to utilize and the land is in a strategic place, this bill comes out clearly to say that it allows for regional counties also to come together, pull their resources together, and do development. Even different counties can come up with such a sustainable kind of way of generating money, coming up with housing projects and ensuring that the money collected is shared equitably in the two counties, Honorable Speaker. Because it is very clear in the bill how in cases where money is now getting into the counties, it is very clear how this money can be shared. And even according to the bill allows for an agreement. In a situation where County A, County B have decided that they're going to have a certain development together, then when it comes to the resources, they're going to share the resources equitably. And even the bill also says that when it comes to disagreement, there's a way in which disputes can be resolved in counties. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that county executives, and I want to maybe, because the year is coming to an end, the parliament, their terms are coming to an end, but I hope that the coming county executives will explore various ways of ensuring that they're utilizing the land that is in the counties to ensure that that land is productive, Honorable Speaker, because land is a powerful factor of production. Honorable Speaker, There's an issue that has come out clearly about labor. There are people who are gifted differently, even in counties. You'll find that there are some who are very good in doing carpentry. There are some who are very good in even constructing houses in counties. And I want to say, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to even constructing houses, it is not that person who has bidded, to be a constructor that can make really good houses. County executives should look for a way of ensuring that even in terms of construction, the labor in the counties is utilized, Honorable Speaker. You will find that even in counties, there are people who are skillful. They have not gone to school, but they're just talented, Honorable Speaker. I want to give an example of Kibera, Honorable Speaker. When you go to Kibera, you will find very good architects. You will find very good constructors. But they have not gone to school, but through experience, they're able to really come up with really perfect buildings. And Honorable Speaker, even when contractors who have even an education have been given the work, they do not do the work. The work is done by people who have hands-on. And the hands-on people, you will find them in the counties, Honorable Speaker. You will find that even when it comes to fishing, even when it comes to that industry, it is not that broker who says that he can supply fish and so on who has the manpower. You'll find that the real fish mongers, you'll find that the real people on the ground, the fishermen, they may not have gone to school, but they have the skills. So county governments should try to identify such people and afford them jobs, Honorable Speaker. And this bill will ensure that the trafficking of people from the rural areas to Nairobi and other urban towns comes to a stop. If they are actually managed properly, people will be very busy in their counties. They'll be earning a source of income in their counties because people go to cities simply because they want to make a living, Honorable Speaker. But when we came with a devolved system of governments, Honorable Speaker, we need to arrest the trafficking of people coming to urban areas looking for employment. Employment should be right there, Honorable Speaker. And that is why we are talking about development, Honorable Speaker. We have talked of land. We have talked of labor. So people in the rural areas who have their labor, that labor should be exploited, utilized, and plowed back to the counties, Honorable Speaker, so that they also benefit from the labor, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we are also talking about capital as being defined as a source, as a resource. And capital is very important, Honorable Speaker. When we are talking of capital, some amount of money is taken to the counties. And many times when it comes to revenue sharing, we say a certain fraction goes to the counties. We are talking about 35% of the national revenue going to the counties. County executives need to utilize this money in such a manner that it can be productive, it can be income generating, and plowed back to the counties, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there is need for county executives to be very transparent also in the manner in which they're able to utilize the money that comes from the national government so that everyone benefits, the youth benefit, women benefit, and persons with disabilities also benefit, Honorable Speaker. Because most of the projects that are brought forth by county executives, you'll hear, of course, I'm not refusing that they do a good job in the counties, but what I'm saying is that they can do much more than what they're actually doing, Honorable Speaker. Because when the devolved systems came, and I want to say that everyone can see that means of transport has even become better in counties. I remember even when I was growing up and I was going to my parents' home, I would walk so many kilometers because means of transport was not there. And even when it came to vehicles, they could not even use that road. Sometimes you could sit in a matatu that would take about 4 hours before it reaches, because it has to be filled up. And people could not even afford. And so they would walk and walk and walk. But right now we see that roads are developed, and we also have motorbikes being utilized. We have, the means of transport has improved. Why? It's because of devolution. So, Honorable Speaker, we have to ensure that we are protecting devolution. We have to ensure that this development is continuously going on, in counties, so that we can be able to implement Article 174 of the Constitution, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have to say that when it comes to county governments, if county executives put mechanisms in place, they'll have sustainable development. They'll have sustainable revenue. And with sustainable revenue and predictable revenue, it means that development can also be predictable, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there is need for county executives to ensure that they identify the resources in the counties. And one of the ways of identifying is doing some research, Honorable Speaker, because with research it is possible for counties to identify what is in the counties, the niche in the counties, and also apart from identifying the niche in the counties, they have to assess how much will be put in and how much will they get after the input, Honorable Speaker. And also, Honorable Speaker, there is need also for county executives to actually see to it that they do an analysis of the requirements that are needed in their counties for development, Honorable Speaker. Because different counties have different requirements. So there's need to find out, in this country, what is the requirement? Is it road? Let the road be made. In this county, what is the requirement? Is it land? Let the land be sought for and provided so that development can take place, Honorable Speaker. And even, Honorable Speaker, when this is identified and assessment is made, it has to be smart, Honorable Speaker, so that even when it comes to the resources that have been identified, they should be exploited and utilized so that they benefit the common man, Honorable Speaker. And another thing that I like about this bill, Honorable Speaker, it comes out clearly to talk about public participation, Honorable Speaker. Because even if we are talking about county resources development, there is need for public participation so that the public actually decides what, is my time over? Thank you. So that even county executives are able to need to do public participation, and in public participation, that would when Wananchi will come and say, this is the lacuna in this area, or this is the niche in this area. Then after identifying the niche in the area, then people need to also see how the development will help them. Because when it comes to any development, it should be able to help the common man. We are talking about the 4 agenda. We are talking of manufacturing. We are talking of housing. We are talking of hospitals and all that. This bill comes in to ensure that all this is achieved in counties, Honorable Speaker. Because if we're able to utilize our youths in the counties, then they will not have to go and look for jobs in cities. If we're able to also manufacture, even commodities in our counties, then we'll not have to import, Honorable Speaker. We have to get out of that syndrome of importing, Honorable Speaker. We have to harness, we have to ensure that we are utilizing what we have, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, this bill has also talked about economic blocks. And when you're talking about economic blocks, Honorable Speaker, different blocks can see what they have in common and leverage on the strengths that they have. And when they leverage on the strengths they have, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to income arising from the development, then the economic blocks can come together and decide how they're going to share, Honorable Speaker, because this bill allows for that. And there's also a mechanism for resolving disputes that arise from such agreements, because, Honorable Speaker, for economic blocks, this bill also says that there's need for an agreement, and there are also ways of resolving disputes. This bill also allows counties to also partner with the government, national government, to partner with individuals. But this bill is very clear that 40% of the income needs to go back to the counties, Honorable Speaker, because we are talking of local content. And I'm happy about Senator Moy, who came up with the local content, that even if it is development, let it benefit the locals, Honorable Speaker. So this bill will also come in to ensure that the locals benefit, Honorable Speaker, because 40% of the income needs to go to the counties, Honorable Speaker. And I want to say, Honorable Speaker, even when it goes to the counties, there is need for county executives to ensure that they're giving employment to people with disabilities, they're giving to women, they're giving to the youth. And I want to thank Governor Mandago on the floor of this House. Honorable Speaker, Governor Madago has done so much when it comes to issues of disability. And I want to say that, Honorable Speaker, the PWDs themselves attest that when it comes to employment, he prioritizes them. And he has a mechanism put in place to ensure that persons with disabilities have employment, Honorable Speaker. And there's need for county executives also to be sensitive, Honorable Speaker, so that when it comes to tenders, let persons with disabilities also be given something that is viable. When it comes to jobs, let them be given also what is viable, Honorable Speaker. Because I want to say on the floor of this House, and I've said many times, persons with disabilities lack the opportunity to showcase their potential. So I want to thank Governor Madagol, and I hope that many other county executives will benchmark also to ensure that persons with disabilities are brought on board when it comes to development in this country, when it comes to development also in the counties, Honorable Speaker. And I also want, in the same breath, I want to thank Safaricom, which is also doing a good job in ensuring employment for persons with disabilities, Honorable Speaker. Safaricom gives persons with disabilities jobs, and they give them honorable jobs, Honorable Speaker. And I want to say, Honorable Speaker, I commend Senator Nyamunga for coming up with such a noble bill, and I know and I believe that my fellow senators will also support this bill so that it sees light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second.
Thank you, Senators. Honorable Senators, I now propose the question that the County Resource Development Bill, Senate Bills number 45 of 2021, be read a second time. Senator Faria.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I wish to urge the people of Kisumu, if Senator Nyamunga needs any position, political position, this is the lady who should be rewarded. Because, Madam Speaker, this is a bill that is a game changer, Madam Speaker. And as society, if we cannot recognize people who do a great job, then we should be ready to receive mediocre services from people who are not ready to work for their people. Madam Speaker, this is, devolution is young. It's only like 10 years now. But Madam Speaker, unless we get it right from the beginning, devolution will not reach the level we anticipate as the framers of the Constitution had anticipated. Madam Speaker, devolution is a game changer. Because in counties like where I come from, before devolution, we used to say that we are going to Kenya. Right now, as a result of devolution, despite its pitfalls, because it still has a lot of challenges, but despite that, right now, people from northern Kenya feel like they are part of this country, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, and anybody like Senator Nyamunga, who is willing to support enhanced devolution, need to be supported by where she comes from. And I urge the people of Kisumu County to elect Senator Nyamunga as their senator. Madam Speaker, can you imagine Senator Nyamunga as the senator of Kisumu, Baba as the 5th president? How phenomenal will devolution grow in this country? I think most Kenyans know the answer to that question. Madam Speaker, because, Madam Speaker, Raila Amolo Odinga is known as the father of devolution, because he is the one who was fronting the clamor for new constitution, and with grace of God, he has succeeded. And I think if we elect him as the president, I think it can only get better. So, Madam Speaker, Senator Nyamunga should be favorably considered by the people of Kisumu. If she can do all this work, this is not the only bill she has done that increases resources for counties. Madam Speaker, I sit in Finance Committee and I know that she has done several bills that enhances revenue collections for counties. So, Madam Speaker, she's just nominated. Now, imagine if people of Kisumu elect her. it can only get better, Madam Speaker, not only for Kisumu, but for this country. Madam Speaker, in terms of the business, the resource requirement, the continuation of devolution, we have to have some level of sustainability, meaning resources must be generated by counties. We can no longer, rely on national government for resources. So therefore, this bill will enhance capacity of county government to generate more resources for themselves so that they don't rely on themselves. Madam Speaker, sometimes there are things that amuse me as Kenyans. We expect too much. Kenyans expect roads, expect hospitals, expect service delivery, expect a lot of things, their life to be more comfortable. We change poverty, a lot of things. That is their expectation of government. But the same Kenyans don't want to pay taxes. The same Kenyans don't want the government to borrow. Tell me which kind of economic model this government needs to use that doesn't require citizens to pay taxes, that doesn't require the same government to borrow, but we do all those services accordingly. You tell me. That is one of the interesting things about Kenyan economic politics, Madam Speaker, and I find it very interesting. You either have to pay taxes, ready to be paying taxes, or ready to borrow. And even if you borrow, if you're not ready to pay taxes, then you lose all your strategic, resources if you're not willing to pay taxes. Because how else will this government get money to do a lot of things, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, the other thing I wanted to talk about this.
Senator Mazai, you know how to ask for a point of order. How come I don't see you in the interventions column? Yes. Let's give him the mic.
Speaker, tumekuwa tukijadiliana pale chini. Sikutaka kumuingilia dadangu Farhia. Lakini sijui kama ni mazingaumbwe ama sijui kama ni sayansi ama sijui kama ni kitu gani kinaendelea ndani ya hii bunge la Senate. Kwa sababu kuna taa moja linazunguka, mataa mengine yote hayazunguki. Sababu hatuijui. Speaker, sijui inaweza kuwa kama ni hatari kwetu sisi hapa ndani. Kama kuna mtu anaweza kutufafanulia ni kwa nini taa moja inazunguka, zingine zote zimenyamaza na taa moja inatangatanga hapa. Asante Speaker. Ama kama sivyo tutoke basi, manake ni hatari.
Asante sana Senator Masayo. Nimejulishwa kwamba kuna hewa inazungusha hiyo taa. So usiogope, hakuna kitu ya hatari hapa. Ni hiyo moja tu, kuna hewa inatoka kutoka kushoto ikienda kulia na ndio inazungusha hiyo taa. So hiyo ni sawa. Senator Faria, endelea.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in terms of this bill, what is so interesting is the regional blocks, Madam Speaker, suggested by Senator Nyamunga. Madam Speaker, already regional blocks do exist. But right now, there is no legal framework that makes it more, when you don't have a legal framework, then you don't have a basis to sue or to be sued as a regional block. So but if it has a legal framework, then they can conduct their business knowing that they have what it takes to ensure that this functions very well the way it is anticipated by the bill. Madam Speaker, the other thing that I like about this bill is because of the regional blocks, there's going to be an interesting economic activity that can take place. Like each region can invest more money in what they are good at. That means there is synergy between the different counties. And in addition to that, there will be market for the product as a result of specialization, Madam Speaker. And then, Madam Speaker, once this bill comes to actualization, I think the Ministry of Trade need to do a lot of work in terms of finding markets for all these interesting projects that will come as a result of these regional blocks. Madam Speaker, even as we have a regional block, whereby even, as far as Turkana is part of that regional block, not because of the neighborness, but because of our nature, in terms of the kind of livelihood that we have, in terms of animals, products, in terms of how arid and semi-arid, we have unique challenges as a result of those counties that are arid and semi-arid. So all that, they have 10 counties that are in that regional block, and I think they are able to negotiate already with donors in terms of, doing some interesting projects. Madam Speaker, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is, as a result of this bill, I think actualization of Agenda 4 of our President and the Jubilee government will be realized, and industrialization, I think, will be possible with these regional blocks. Madam Speaker, the other interesting bits that this bill talks about is not only formulating, ability to have regional blocks and other, but it is also creating a favorable environment in terms of actualization of this bill. One of it is, promotion of good governance and accountability in development and, exploitation of natural resources. That is important, because unless you put systems in place that support good governance, then we can only talk about laws that are there, but that will never benefit the common mwananchi. And I wish to urge the governors, I wish to urge Kenyans, because the ones who are now there are on their way out, to elect governors who will actualize this bill and make sure the lives of their citizens are much better than they found it. Madam Speaker, the other one is the need to promote as well, sustainable development in exploiting of the natural resources. This bill also encourages public participation. It also encourages transparency, and then it also encourages, availability both in services and timely, and then reliable information. Because, Madam Speaker, unless you have reliable information, there is no way the citizen will know what is going on in these bills, in some of these, in order for this bill to be successful in ensuring that counties develop. Madam Speaker, this bill also recommends that if there is a natural resource within a county, 45% of the profits that is accruing from that, natural resource should go to that county. I think Nairobi needs to be worried now if this bill goes through, because the Nairobi water comes from Murang'a County, and therefore I think the Nairobians should be ready to pay 45% of what comes out of that water for Nairobi to go to Murang'a. So that's just food for thought. The other thing is in terms of regulation. I have noticed that the bill provides for regulations for counties to give according to Financial Management Act, but it does not compel, unless I miss, Senator Nyamunga will correct me, to have regulation by what date after this bill is passed. Why that is important is that unless there are regulations to actualize the bill can never cover everything. And you need the regulation to ensure there are penalties, there is amount, to pay if you don't meet. There are also, requirement in terms, it covers a lot of ground compared to the bill itself. So therefore, I urge Senator to include an amendment whereby it gives deadline for, I think this should come under Ministry of Finance and Planning, then they need to prepare the regulation I recommend after 6 months of this bill being signed into law. The other thing that I like this bill is that as much as most bills provide a legal framework, this one also further provides an agreement, a basic agreement between people who are in regional blocks. Now, what this does is that instead of somebody, if they want to go to a regional block, instead of them looking for some information in terms of developing an agreement, they have a high-level standard agreement where everybody follows. But then if there are additional things that you require, you can also include it. But at least, a skeleton framework in terms of what needs to happen in that agreement is also provided, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think this is a good bill, and I urge my colleagues to support. Madam Speaker, what I also wish to request is that we can debate, we can do all these beautiful bills, but unless we have enough 24 delegations to pass this bill, then all we are doing is telling bedtime stories, and a lot of senators will go home having, like Senator Rose Nyamunga, who has developed so many bills, they will go home with no bills to their name. So I urge my colleagues to come to the Senate, especially today afternoon. We vote most of these second reading bills that are done. We also finish all these third reading, and Madam Speaker, so that we can ask our sister house to fast track. Madam Speaker, I beg to support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Senator for Nyamira, Senator Mogeni Eric Okongo.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I want to begin by congratulating the nominated senator, Senator Nyamunga, for coming up with this very good proposal on this bill, which he has named the County Revenue Development Bill 2021. Mr. Speaker, it's good to have senators in the House who have gone to school and gone to school properly. That's why at times I have issues with these proposals that advocate for qualification of members of parliament to secondary school and not degree. Because looking at this bill, Madam Speaker, I have no doubt that the main intention of this bill is really to advance the lives and the well-being of the people that we represent. So I want to begin first by congratulating Senator Nyamunga and thank her for the brain and effort that has gone into the preparation of this bill. And I want to encourage Senator Nyamunga that big things that are transformative begin with ideas like what you have placed before the Senate this morning. And even if we travel around the world to look at history, Madam Speaker, this is how big establishments have begun, by bringing together countries that come together, share ideas, and they form big economic blocks. Madam Speaker, even the Airbus started like an idea that was introduced by the French, shared by West Germany, and later on the UK joined in 1967. And now they produce, in fact, they are the leading manufacturers of planes now. They are ahead of even the Boeing. So this idea of encouraging counties to form economic blocks is the way to go, Madam Speaker. That's the only way we will form economic entities that will be transformative for our people. And I want to really appeal to our governors, Madam Speaker, to dream that when we put devolution in our 2010 Constitution, the main purpose, the main intention was to transform economically and socially the lives of the people that we represent. If we don't change the lives of the people that live in counties, then really the dream of our 2010 Constitution would have died in the face of the Kenyans that we represent. And we can, if we really pass this bill, I'm seeing as charting a way forward that will help us to form some economic bases and powerhouses in some of these counties that will come together. In the US, Madam Speaker, in 1933, when President Franklin Roosevelt took over power, America was in a serious economic recession. In fact, what we talk here has never reached the state where America was in 1933. Even getting bread, people were queuing. You could go to banks to withdraw your money, your own savings, and you could not withdraw money. But Franklin encouraged states, Madam Speaker, to be innovative and set up their own economic models so that they could themselves become economic powerhouses. And I remember one law that I always talk about, the Tennessee Valley Authority Act, that was initially challenged in courts but was cleared by the Supreme Court. The idea that Franklin had was to ensure that they harness the rivers that run through the Tennessee Valley, construct dams so that the issue of flooding will be harnessed to become an economic benefit to the people of Tennessee Valley. And as we speak today, Madam Speaker, that authority that was formed in 1933 remains one of the most profitable enterprises in the United States of America. Not only does it provide the cheapest power to the national power in America, but it has also formed a very serious tourism circuit in America. Where we used to have floods, now we have beautiful hotels where tourists visit. So the state is rich. The Tennessee Valley state is rich. Other than being famed for music, like what Kenyans have enjoyed for many years, music from Dolly Parton, it also now forms a base for economic tourism in the US. So that's where we really want these countries to go. So our governors must really wake up and think innovatively how they are going to transform the lives of the people who reside in counties. And Madam Speaker, it can be done. If you have taken a walk in Nairobi, see what General Bardi has done in Nairobi through NMS. Look at the beautification that is taking place in Nairobi. Look at the pathways, the walking pathways he has repaired in Nairobi. Look at his efforts in ensuring that the city is clean. It can be done. So the question I normally ask is, for the last 6 years before we had NMS, where was money that was allocated to Nairobi County going to? Where was that money going to? Because now we can see something is happening in the county of Nairobi. So when Madam Nyamunga here proposes that we should have more responsibilities being taken by our CECs in counties, we want them to be more accountable to the people. We want them to be more prudent in the way they utilize resources. Those who are in charge of collection of revenue at the counties must ensure that, Madam Speaker, leakages on revenue. If you read public accounts committee reports that are tabled on the floor of this house year in, year out, there are a lot of leakages on the revenue that is collected by counties, almost in all our counties. Most of our counties are still analog, Madam Speaker. They are still analog. The vehicles that move from maybe one market to the other and they're obligated to pay revenue, they are still being issued with receipts manually. Even after counties budgeted huge millions of shillings to automate revenue collection. And that's what this bill is proposing, that counties must really think outside the box. You can't wait year in, year out for the Senate to allocate revenue to your county so that you can spur development. You can also be innovative on how you collect revenue from your own county and use that income to develop your county. Madam Speaker, why are we unable to adequately provide medical services in our counties? Like in Nyamira, day in, day out, our people cross over to Bomet to get treatment in Tenwek Hospital. Others are taken all the way to Eldoret. Yet if we really did good collection of our revenue at the counties, we can have good hospitals that can provide quality Medicare to our people. Madam Speaker, this idea of forming economic blocks is a very good idea, Madam Speaker. And we can learn from what has happened within the European Union, what those 24 countries have done, serving a population, I think, of over 400 plus million people in an area of more than 4 million square kilometers. So we can have Nyamira, Kisii, Homa Bay, Kisumu coming together, even Vihiga, and we form a strong economic bloc, and we make trading easier for our people. Those who are moving from one country to the other, these economic blocks can come together and make movement of trade and services between those counties to become easier, and we also harmonize issue of taxation among those counties. But Madam Speaker, we can never succeed unless we deal with this issue of corruption. This is that we are giving more responsibilities, Madam Speaker. We must also demand for more from them, and we also must put EACC on their toes. Because the money that we send to our counties, if it's not utilized well, Madam Speaker, it ends up in people's pockets. So we'll keep on sending money to counties, but it ends up in people's pockets. So we must really make a strong appeal to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to make use of the good support that they are now getting from the judiciary. Issues of lifestyle audits, Madam Speaker, I've of late seen very good jurisprudence from our courts on people who have amassed wealth, whose sources they cannot adequately explain to the courts. Those assets should be repossessed, be given back to counties. If they are houses, let's convert them to hospitals or pharmacies, where our people can, so that we remind those coming after, those who have been culprits, that corruption does not pay. Otherwise, without slaying this dragon of corruption, Madam Speaker, we will never transform the lives of the people that we represent. I hope also, Madam Speaker, that this bill will help us deal with issues of value addition, and I'm really wishing, I'm wishing the fifth, Engineer Amolo Odinga, all the best as he prepares and campaigns to be the next president of this country, because his policies resonate with a progressive society, Madam Speaker. This is not the time of telling people that you are going to transform the lives of our people by giving them wheelbarrows. Madam Speaker, I can never seek to be a president of a country and say that my only dream and ambition is to give wheelbarrows. But I like, when I read what Engineer Raila is talking about smart agriculture, about value addition, how we can help our farmers to get more money into the pocket. That's what we are looking for, Madam Speaker. We know how poor our people are, Madam Speaker, where we come from. How can any Kenyan, Madam Speaker, oppose the idea that is coming from Engineer Raila Odinga, who wants to support those who are socially and economically poor at the counties? Madam Speaker, how can you oppose an idea, a good idea of giving social support to our people of Kenya shillings 6,000 per month, Madam Speaker? And that's what we want Kenyans to look at, that the policies in the Azimia coalition want to transform the lives of our people. And this bill will fit into the ideas of Engineer Raila Odinga. So there are people, Madam Speaker, if they take power, they cannot understand this bill. But people like Engineer Odinga will understand what it means when we are saying we want to take developments to the counties, because he believes in devolution, Madam Speaker. If you get somebody who, even when you propose to amend a constitution, to send 35% of revenue to the counties, they oppose. How will they embrace such a good idea? So I'm praying that Senator Nyamunga, when your bill passes, it will be implemented by the right president, somebody who believes in transforming the lives of people who live in our counties, and not somebody who wants to bring policies that will leave our people remaining analog. A wheelbarrow, Madam Speaker, is for the analog generation. But as we are looking forward to the digital generation, I support, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Justice Madzayo.
Asante Speaker. Speaker, pia mimi ningependelea kuunga mkono bili hii ya kuelekeza uchumi bora ndani ya hizi kaunti zetu ama jimbo. Kitu cha kwanza Speaker, nafikiria hii bili imekuja wakati mwema, wakati ambao inahitajika. Na Speaker, tukiangalia vema katika hii bili hii, tunaona ya kwamba kuna mambo mengi ambayo tunaweza kuyafanya. Kitu cha kwanza, ningewapatia kongole wale magavana wote 6 walioanzisha mfumo huu wa uongozaji wa kaunti 6 za pwani, kuanzia Lamu kuja Tana River, Kilifi, Mombasa, Kwale na Taita Taveta. Speaker, magavana hawa walianzisha mfumo wa jumuiya ya kaunti za pwani zote 6. Lakini pengine kwa bahati mbaya ama kwa msukosuko ama kwa kukosa kuelewana, hii jumuiya ya kaunti za pwani ilififia. Na ningependa kuwauliza, kwa sababu vile tuko na muda kidogo umebaki na wao wako katika mamlaka, ningewauliza ya kwamba bili hii hivi sasa ambayo iko ndani ya bunge la Senate, ingewafaa wao wafungue macho, waelewe ya kwamba hii bili ambayo iko hapa inaenda muda mrefu sana kusaidia kaunti zote 6 za pwani. Speaker, tukiongea namna hiyo, kwanza nataka kumpatia kongole dadangu Rose Nyamunga, seneta mteule wa chama cha ODM, kwa kuleta hii bill hapa, na pia vile vile kwa ukakamavu wake wa kujua mahitaji ya hii bill. Speaker, tunaelewa kabisa ya kwamba kama hii bill itafaulu, lazima ipate kielelezo mwafaka ambacho kitakuwa katika kilele cha utawala wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, ili kuona ya kwamba haya yote tunayosema hapa, haya yote ambayo yako ndani ya hii bill yatatekelezwa. Kwa sababu kutengeneza pesa ndani ya kaunti ni kwamba ufisadi ni lazima upigwe vita. Kutengeneza pesa ndani ya serikali ya kati, national government, ni lazima ipigwe vita ufisadi. Lakini ikiwa hatutapiga vita ufisadi, basi itakuwa biashara kama kawaida, ambapo tunajua kabisa ya kwamba mtu ambaye anaweza kupigana na ufisadi ndani ya Kenya kwa hivi sasa, mtu ambaye tuna imani ya kwamba akichukua hatama ya uongozi anaweza kupiga vita ufisadi, na anajua pale matundu ya ufisadi yako na anaweza kuyaziba kisawasawa, ili kuona ya kwamba kaunti zote 47 zinafaidika, tunajua ni yule atakayegombea kiti cha urais cha Jamhuri ya Kenya, akiwa rais wa 5 wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, akiwa ni Rais Baba Raila Odinga. Tunasema ya kwamba hii si ndoto, bali ni kwamba hii bill inawezekana kutekelezwa. Tukisema hivyo ni kwamba kaunti zote 47 hivi sasa macho yao yanaelekeza katika serikali ya kati, na serikali ya kati imekuwa ikisaidia majimbo kuwapelekea pesa. Hizi pesa tunazopigania hapa tukizipeleka, kama ingekuwa serikali zetu za mashinani ziko na taratibu za kutafuta pesa zao, ziongezee juu ya hizi ambazo tunawapelekea, ingekuwa serikali zetu za mashinani zimeweza kuleta maendeleo mengi sana katika hizo serikali za ugatuzi walizo nazo ama tulizo nazo katika Kenya zote 47. Kitu ambacho nataka kukiwekea kipaumbele ni kwamba hakuna jimbo ndani ya serikali ya Kenya, yale majimbo yote 47, hakuna jimbo ambalo halina kitego uchumi. Tukianzia kama ni mambo ya utalii, tuko na mbuga za wanyama, tuko na bahari, tuko na upeo mzuri sana katika kila mahali, tukianza na upande wa pwani. Katika mambo ya utalii tumeona kabisa nchi nyingi katika ulimwengu zimeweza kufaidika kwa sababu ya utalii. Na ikiwa kama utalii ni kitu muhimu sana, sisi tunajua kwamba kwa hali kama Mombasa, kwa hali kama Kwale, Kilifi, Tana River, hata Lamu, ni kwa hali ambao kunaweza kuendelea zaidi ikiwa serikali zao zitaweka akili pamoja na kuona kwamba ni kitega uchumi gani ambacho wanaweza kufaidika nacho. Mr. Ukiangalia pande kama za Turkana, tuko na mambo ya mafuta ambapo hiyo pia ni bora zaidi kwao, inaweza kusaidia watu wa Turkana. Tukija kama ni upande wa chakula, tuko na bonde la Ufa ambapo kuna kuwa na vyakula vya aina mbalimbali vinatengenezwa, lakini kile cha muhimu ni kama mahindi ambayo yanatumika kila mahali ndani ya Kenya yetu. Ukija kwa upande kama ni wa samaki, kuna uchumi samawati pande za pwani, lakini zaidi sana wanaoweka samaki ama wanaoweza kuchukua samaki wengi, hata sisi sote tukashangaa hapa, ilikuwa ni upande wa Nyanza katika ziwa Victoria. Wanatoa samaki wengi, na pia hiyo ikiwa ni kitego chao uchumi kimoja, wakichukulia kwa maana sana kaunti ya Kisumu na zile zingine zote zilizo kule Nyanza zinaweza kufaidika. Mr. Tukiangalia upande wa Western Province, kuna yale mawe ya utalii yale yanalia, yanatoa machozi, ambayo kila mwaka, yani watalii wanaenda kule kwa wingi kuangalia ni kwa nini majiwe fulani ambayo yako pamoja yanaweza kutoa machozi. Lakini hiyo ni hali ya kwamba Mungu ametupatia mazingira ya utalii. Mr. Tumeona ya kwamba bei za bidhaa, ukiangalia mahali kama India, ukiwa juu kule Delhi, ukinunua shati ama ukinunua rinda la shilingi 15 zile wanaziita rupia, ukinunua kule hata ukasafiri kilomita 1000 ndani ya India ukaenda Madras, ile nguo uliyopata kule juu New Delhi, ukiipata shilingi 15 utaipatia kule chini pia shilingi 15, kilomita 1000 kutoka kule. Hiyo ni kumaanisha zile jumuiya za county za kule ambao ni regional governments wanafanya kazi wakiwa wanashikizana, na ni kwamba hakuna mtu anaweza, kila mtu anategemea mwingine ili kuona ya kwamba Mr. kila mwananchi anafaidika alipo katika ndani ya India. Hayo yanawezekana kufanyikana ndani ya Kenya. Mr. Tumeona mahali kama Singapore ni nchi dogo sana, lakini kwa sababu iko na ports, Singapore imeweza kufanya maajabu. Ukienda kule watu wanaoishi ndani ya Singapore ni watu ambao wamefaidika kiuchumi wa nchi yao. Spika, Singapore inajulikana kwa sababu iko na bandari, na ni bandari tu peke yake ndio inafuga kila mtu ndani ya Singapore. Sisi hapa tuko na bandari, na bandari yenyewe hata haijui pale ilipo, kwa sababu bandari yenyewe inasaidiwa pia na serikali. Tunashindwa sasa, ile bandari ya kule Singapore inaweza kusaidia serikali ya Singapore. Hii yetu hapa ni opposite, kwa sababu ya mambo ya ufisadi. Tunasema ya kwamba ikiwa ile bandari inaweza kufanya kazi na inatokea maeneo ya Mombasa, ile Mombasa City ikiwa ndio iko na bandari kama vile Singapore City iko na ile bandari yao pale, watu wale wa kwanza kufaidika na ile port ni wale watu wako pale Mombasa. Sisi tukiangalia uchumi wetu na hali yetu ya maisha na serikali vile inaenda, Mombasa saa hizi ukifika, Spika, utaionea huruma. Imekuwa gofu, imekuwa watu wamepoteza kazi, imekuwa hakuna kitega uchumi, imewachiliwa namna hii tu. Tunasema ya kwamba ni lazima, ikiwa tunataka kaunti ya Mombasa iendelee mbele, basi wapewe nafasi ya kumanage, nafasi ya kuweza kuangalia ni percentage gani ama ni rasilimia ngapi wanaweza kupata kutoka kwa hiyo port, wapewe ili Mombasa iweze kuendelea pia. Vile vile Mombasa ikiendelea, tuna hakika ya kwamba uchumi ndani ya pwani kuanzia Kilifi, Tana River, Lamu, Kwale, Taita Taveta, wote pia watafaidika ikiwa ile county ambayo ni kama mama yetu inaweza kuendelea. Lakini kwa hivi sasa jambo la kusikitisha, na tunasema ya kwamba jumuiya ya zile county za pwani wakiwa wanaweza kushirikiana vizuri, na tukiwa tunaweza kuwa na ile bandari ambayo certain percentage, ile ya percentage fulani inaweza kutolewa na ikapewa county za pwani, tunajua ni kwamba maendeleo fulani yanaweza kupatikana. Spika, tunaelewa kabisa katika ulimwengu kama kuna port ambayo inasifika ni port ya Dubai. Watu wa huko Dubai wanashirikiana kama Emirates. Emirates ni kwamba kuna Sharjah, kuna sijui ni pande gani ni zingine kama hizo ambazo ndugu yangu Fakia anazisema, Abu Dhabi. Spika, hakuna mtu anaweza kuishi peke yake. Spika, ukienda Sharjah, ukienda Dubai, ukienda pande nyingine, utapata ya kwamba vile vile nilivyotangulia kusema, ukiwa utapeleka gari kule, ukija huku petroli sawa sawa. Ukiangalia kama ni maendeleo ya kule yako na pande hii yako sawa sawa. Spika, ni jambo la kusikitisha kuona ikiwa kama wale miaka isio nilikuwa naangalia video ya mtaalamu mmoja kutoka Amerika, alikuwa anashangaa akasema, in 50 years you can do this. Yani katika miaka 50 unaweza kugeuza hii Emirates ikakuwa kitu ambacho ulimwengu mzima inashangaa. Kila kitu kinafanya kazi kisawasawa. Hiyo inamaanisha ya kwamba jumuiya zile za Emirates wanafanya kazi wakiwa pamoja. Bili hii inaweza kutuunga sisi ikafanya Kenya ikawa moja. Hii bili inaweza kusaidia Wakenya wakapendana. Leo tukiangaliana namna hii, tunaona tunafika karibu na uchaguzi, tunaanza kusema ya kwamba hawa ni kabla hii, hawa ni kabla hii. Tunaanza kupanga kisiasa, makabila fulani ya kusanyane pamoja tupige kura. Haiendi namna hiyo. Tunasema sote ni wa Kenya, na hatuna vile tunasema kama Sakaja huwa anasema hapa hakuna Kenya A, hakuna Kenya B. Ni ukweli. Kenya iliyoko hapa ni moja. Na kwa hiyo kama sisi ni watu wa Kenya wote ni lazima wasikizane. Na hizi zote kama kaunti 47 zingekuwa zikisikizana, ingekuwa pengine hatuhitaji hii, lakini tunahitaji hii kwa sababu ya uelekezo wanaosema ya kwamba ni lazima hizi kaunti wa sasa wawache mambo ya kutegemea serikali ya kati kupata pesa. Wao wenyewe wawe na mikakati yao wakiwa huko kwenye serikali yao. Waketi huko, sio kuketi na kungoja na zile pesa tunapeleka zingine zinaingia kwenye mifuko ya watu binafsi. Na tunasema hii iwachiliwe. isifanyiwe hii bill iwachiliwe iwe effective, ili iweze kusaidia Wakenya ambao kote wanakoishi katika nchi. Na mwisho, Mr. Speaker, kule pwani kuna kitega uchumi upande wa Kwale ambao bado haijapewa nguvu na serikali. Tunaweza kutengeneza mambo ya sukari. Tunaona sukari nyingi inaletwa kutoka nje. Hii nchi iko na uwezo na iko na ardhi ya kutengeneza sukari, lakini ukiangalia mambo ya ufisadi yameingia sana ndani ya sukari mpaka makampuni yamekufa. Ramisi Sugar iko Kwale County, inatakana ipewe kipaumbele na hata ile serikali iliyoko pale ya Kwale, ili kwamba watu isije ikafungwa, watu wakapoteza kazi. Tunaona mahali kama huku pande za Nyanza, Mumia Sugar, Nzoia Sugar wameweza kupoteza rasilimali zao za upandaji wa mimea sukari, miwa. Mr. Speaker, ni jambo la kusikitisha leo tukiona ya kwamba nchi ambayo inaweza kutengeza sukari hakuna kampuni. Siku zote sukari iko na shida, na iko katika majimbo fulani ambayo yakishikana hayo majimbo kutoka Nyanza mpaka Western, hao wanatengeza sukari nyingi. Kwingine ni kama huko kwa Ramisi, lakini ukiangalia masikizano ndio hakuna, na huu mmea huu wa miwa umezidi kudidimia. Tunasema ya kwamba, Mr. Speaker, ikiwa hii bill itapita na tutaitengeneza vizuri sana ili iweze tuirekebishe na tuitengeze bora vile ilivyo, ni kwamba tunahitaji ushirikiano mwema katika hizi kaunti zote zilizoko 47. Na pili, kaunti ambazo ziko pamoja zinaishi, wanataka kufanya uhusiano wao pia waweze kushirikiana ili tuweze kufanikiwa kama Wakenya. Asante, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator of Mombasa, Senator Mwinyi Haji Mohamed Faki.
Asante Mr. Speaker pia kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia mswada wa uimarishaji wa rasilimali za kaunti ambao umeletwa bungeni na Senator Nyamunga, Senator maalum. Mheshimiwa Speaker, msaada huu nafikiri umekuja wakati mzuri, japokuwa kulingana na malengo na maazimio yake ilikuwa takana huo umepitishwa miaka 7 au 8 nyuma, kwa sababu kwa sasa kaunti zetu nyingi zinategemea mgao wa serikali ili kuendesha miradi yao na kuendesha maendeleo katika sehemu zao, na siku zote maendeleo hayawezi kufanywa kwa msaada. Maendeleo yatakana kufanywa na rasilimali zenyewe za kaunti ambazo zinapatikana katika eneo hili. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Speaker, mswada huu utasaidia pakubwa kuzishajaisha kaunti zetu kuweza kuangalia zaidi rasilimali zao za nyumbani kuliko kutaraji kila mwaka wanaleta bakuli la kuomba hapa katika Senate tuongezee pesa, wakati wao wenyewe wako na rasilimali za kutosha kuhakikisha kwamba wanaweza kupata pesa za kuendesha mipango yao na miradi yao. Mheshimiwa Speaker, nikisema hivyo ni kwamba kwa mfano mwaka 2020-2021 kaunti ya Mombasa ilipokea zaidi ya bilioni 7 kutoka kwa serikali kuu, lakini wao walikuwa na mipango ya kukusanya bilioni 6, na kile ambacho walikusanya mwisho wa mwaka ilikuwa ni bilioni 3 na milioni 300, ambayo ilikuwa ni karibu nusu ya, hawakuweza kufikia nusu ya matarajio yao ya fedha ambazo walikuwa takana wakusanya. Kwa hivyo kama tunavyojua, serikali kuu ina mahitaji mengi, na kwa hivyo kila mwaka kuna uwezekano kwamba zile ruzuku ambazo zinatolewa kwa hizi kaunti zetu zinakwenda zikipungua kwa sababu mahitaji yanakuwa mengi. Kwa hivyo mapato pia yanaweza kupungua kutokana na uchumi kuzorota. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Speaker, iwapo rasilimali ambazo ziko katika kaunti zetu zitaweza kuimarishwa, ina maana kwamba County itaweza kukusanya pesa nyingi za kodi. County vile vile itapunguza watu kuhamahama kutoka maeneo ya mashambani kuja mijini, kwa sababu wengi wanatoka mashambani kuja mijini kwa sababu mashambani hakuna kazi na hakuna zile tunaita opportunities ama nafasi ambazo wanaweza kuzitumia wakaweza kupata kazi na kuweza kuajiriwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, pia itapunguza umaskini, kwa sababu ikiwa wale walioko mashambani watakuwa wanapata kazi pale pale mashambani, ina maana kwamba mtu hatakuwa na nafasi ya kuhamia mjini ambako atabidi alipe kodi nyingi. Maisha ya mjini pia yako ghali zaidi kuliko ya mashambani. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, hii itasaidia pakubwa kupunguza umaskini katika maeneo yetu ya county. Mheshimiwa Spika, hii pia inaingiana na lengo la serikali inayotarajiwa ya Azimio kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba maendeleo yanakwenda mashinani. Mheshimiwa Spika, lengo na madhumuni ya ugatuzi ilikuwa ni kuleta serikali karibu na wananchi na vile vile pia kuleta maendeleo karibu na wananchi. Zamani maendeleo yote yalikuwa yanapangwa kutoka Nairobi, lakini sasa kila county iko na fursa ya kupanda maendeleo yake, na hivyo ina maana kwamba kaunti zetu nyingi zitaweza kuendelea pakubwa iwapo mswada huu utaweza kupitishwa kwa sheria. Mheshimiwa Spika, nimeona pia katika mswada huu kwamba inazungumzia uundaji wa zile tunaita regional economic blocks, yani jumuiya za county katika zile county ambazo zinatoka maeneo mamoja. Kwa mfano, Pwani ndio ilikuwa region ya kwanza, eneo la kwanza kuweza kufikiria kuja pamoja kama county ya Lamu, county ya Mombasa, county ya Tana River, county ya Kilifi, county ya Kwale, county ya Taita Taveta, ambazo zote hizi zamani zilikuwa ziko katika mkoa wa Pwani. Mheshimiwa Spika, yasikitisha kwamba hatujaweza kupata matunda ya wazo hili la jumuiya la county za kwambo, japokuwa sisi katika Pwani ndio tulikuwa wa kwanza katika nchi ya Kenya kuja na fikra kwamba hizi county zinaweza kuungana pamoja zikaweza kuendesha mambo ambayo yatasaidia county zote katika eneo lile. Kwa mfano, Mheshimiwa Spika, county zote za Pwani zina shida kubwa ya maji. Mombasa inapata maji yake kutoka Mzima Springs ambayo iko karibu kilomita 200 kutoka county ya Mombasa. Maji mengine yanatoka Baricho, Mheshimiwa Spika, ambao pia ni karibu kilomita 200 kutoka county ya Mombasa. Baricho iko katika county ya Kilifi. Mheshimiwa Spika, ukiangalia Kwale wana shida ya maji pia. Mombasa wana shida ya maji. Kilifi wana shida ya maji. Tana River wana shida ya maji na Lamu pia wana shida ya maji. Lakini hatujaweza kuidhibiti hii rasilimali ya maji ya Mzima ili kuona kwamba tuna supply ama tunapeleka maji maeneo yote katika county hizi za Pwani. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, uzembe wetu ama kulala kwetu, tumeona kwamba bado tunatarajia serikali kuu tuweze kutusaidia kuweza kuimarisha rasilimali ambayo ni muhimu sana katika maisha ya binadamu. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo lingine ambalo pia Pwani linatukwaza ni kuwa uchumi samawati, yani blue economy, ambao sasa ndio eneo jipya la kuimarisha uchumi, pia linatupiga chenga, kwa sababu tukiangalia tuna ufuo wa bahari kutoka Vanga nyumbani kwa Mheshimiwa Boy mpaka Kiunga upande wa kaskazini katika eneo la Lamu, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na utapata kwamba japokuwa tuna bahari, lakini hatuna usafiri wa bahari, kwa mfano kutoka Lamu kwenda mpaka Kwale. Leo kuna usafiri wa kutoka Shimoni kwenda mpaka kisiwa cha Pemba na Zanzibar, lakini sisi katika Kenya hatuna usafiri wa kutoka Shimoni mpaka Mombasa, ama Kilifi mpaka Mombasa, ama Mombasa mpaka Lamu, ili kuhakikisha kwamba wananchi wetu wanapata usafiri wa njia rahisi ambao uko salama. Mheshimiwa Spika, kama safari ya Lamu inafanywa zaidi ya magari, ambapo tumeona kwamba siku za karibuni kumekuwa na visa vingi vya majambazi kuvamia mabasi na kupiga risasi watu kiolele. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, hii uchumi samawati ni eneo kubwa, ni eneo zuri ambalo sisi kama kaunti za Pwani tunaweza kulisimamia kuhakikisha kwamba tunapata usafiri wa rahisi, tunapata bidhaa za bahari rahisi, tunaweza kupata pia watalii kuja maeneo yetu mpaka masuala ya kawi. Mheshimiwa Spika, kawi kutokana na upepo wa bahari inaweza kupatikana kutokana na rasilimali hii ya bahari. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, Sisi katika kaunti za Pwani, Mheshimiwa Spika, tuna nafasi kubwa ya kuweza kutumia sheria hii itakapopitishwa kuhakikisha kwamba kaunti zetu zinafaidika na rasilimali ambazo ziko. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo lingine pia la kusikitisha ni kwamba kaunti zenyewe tunatoza ushuru bidhaa ambazo zinatoka kaunti moja kwenda kaunti ya pili. Kwa mfano, Mombasa inatumia zaidi mawe ya kujenga manyumba kutokana na mawe ya coral ambayo yanatoka Kilifi. Kwa hivyo jiwe lile likitolewa Kilifi limetozwa kodi, na likiingia Mombasa pia linatozwa kodi. Mpaka juzi mahakama ikasitisha kodi ambayo inalipishwa na kaunti ya Mombasa kwa bidhaa kama hizo. Tunaona kwamba bidhaa zetu zinakuwa ghali, na mara nyingi tunawadidimiza wananchi wetu katika maeneo yale. Kwa mfano, jiwe likitoka Kilifi likifika Mombasa linalipishwa shilingi 60. Lakini Mombasa jiwe likilo tunatumiwa kwa Kilifi halilipishwi zaidi ya shilingi 40. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, tunaona kwamba hizi kodi ambazo zinalipishwa katika kila kaunti, kwa mfano rasilimali ama bidhaa ya samaki imetoka Lamu inakuja Mombasa, italipishwa ushuru Lamu, ilipishwa ushuru Kilifi, na ilipishwa ushuru Mombasa. Maeneo matatu ambayo yanalipisha ushuru, na yote hii inakuja kuwa mzigo kwa yule mwananchi ambaye anakaa kaunti ile, ambaye yeye ndiye atakuwa mtu wa mwisho kutumia bidhaa ile. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, hizi regional economic blocks zitasaidia pakubwa kuoanisha kodi ambazo zinalipishwa katika kaunti zile, ili kama kwa mfano Kilifi wamelipisha kodi, Mombasa haina haja kulipisha kodi. Kama Kwale imeweza kulipisha kodi, Mombasa haina haja kulipisha kodi, ili wananchi waweze kupata bidhaa kwa urahisi na bei nafuu. Mheshimiwa Spika, hii pia tunasema regional economic blocks, yani jumuiya za counties, zinaweza kusaidia pia pakubwa kuweza kuimarisha rasilimali ambazo ziko katika maeneo maili tofauti. Kwa mfano, kwa sasa Kwale ina titanium, ina madini ya titanium katika Kwale ambayo yanachimbwa na kupelekwa soko la nje. Kilifi pia katika maeneo fulani yana madini ya titanium ambao pia hayajaweza kuchimbwa. Kwa hivyo kutumia ukaribu wa Kilifi na Mombasa, Mheshimiwa Spika, itaweza kusaidia pakubwa kuweza kuimarisha biashara ya uchimbaji wa madini katika eneo la Kilifi wakati Kwale itakapokuwa wanamaliza madini yao. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, hii jumuiya za county, Mheshimiwa Spika, pia zitasaidia kuleta maendeleo karibu kwa mambo ambayo yanaweza kusaidia kaunti zote mbili. Mheshimiwa Spika, la mwisho kwa jumuiya za county ni kwamba kuna maeneo ambayo yana ile tunaita Kiingereza comparative advantage, yani wana nafasi nzuri. Kwa mfano Mombasa kama mji wa bahari ama jiji la bahari, jiji ambalo lina bandari ya kimataifa, lina nafasi nzuri ya kuleta wafanyabiashara kuliko maeneo mengine ambayo hayana rasilimali ama hayana mawasiliano kama vile kaunti ya Mombasa. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, kama kaunti zote zitaungana pamoja kama Mombasa, kama county, kama jumuiya ya county, kama kwa mfano Mombasa, Mheshimiwa Spika, itaweza kupata nafasi kubwa ya kujiimarisha kiuchumi. Tumeona kwamba miji mingi ambayo ina bandari, kwa mfano Rotterdam kule Netherlands, wameweza kuimarika kwa sababu ya biashara ya bandari katika maeneo lile. Lakini kwetu Mheshimiwa Spika, biashara ya bandari iliondolewa ikapelekwa Naivasha kama dry port ili kuimarisha usafiri wa SGR, ambao Mheshimiwa Spika, ile ilikuwa ni makosa makubwa, kwa sababu ile comparative advantage ambayo bandari ya Mombasa ilikuwa nayo kuweza kuleta wafanyabiashara kutoka maeneo yote, kuleta mali kutoka sehemu zote, imeweza kupungua sasa, na utapata kwamba biashara nyingi zimeweza kufungwa na ikaathiri kodi ambayo Mombasa ilikuwa inapokea kutokana na wafanyabiashara walioko pale. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa kumalizia ni kwamba nimeona hapa Senator Faria alizungumzia masuala ya kanuni, yani regulation, lakini nimeona hapa kwamba Cabinet Secretary in consultation with the Council of Governors may make regulations giving effect to the provisions of this act, ambayo nafikiri hii ni standard provision ambayo inapatikana katika sheria nyingi ambazo zinapitishwa. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi naunga mkono sheria hii na itasaidia pakubwa Mheshimiwa Spika kuweza kuimarisha rasilimali zetu za county. Mheshimiwa Spika, hii sheria ikiwa itatumika kikamilifu, hatuna haja kungojea kupewa wilbaro. Mheshimiwa Spika. Hatuna haja ya kupewa kama county, hatuna haja ya kuja kupewa rizuku ndogo ndogo. Unasikia? Tumeweza sasa kupitisha mfumo mpya wa elimu wa CDC ambayo watoto wengi wameweza kusonga mbele. Wengi sasa wanatumia zile tunaita viparakatanishi, yani tabs katika masomo yao.
I see a point of order from Senator Faria.
Speaker, Madam Speaker, is point of information. What I was considering is timelines. You know, by 6 months, you know, or 1 year within, because you know, when you don't give deadlines in terms of regulation, people can just, you know, they have their own time of doing things. So I think within the bill, we must give timeline. Okay. That's what I meant, Senator Faki. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mheshimiwa Spika, Senator Farhia na mimi na yeye tunakaa kamati moja ya regulation ya Senate, delegated legislation. Na majuzi tulikuwa tuangalia kanuni ambazo zimeletwa za irrigation, ambazo sheria ya irrigation ilipitishwa kutoka 2016-2017. Na hivi sasa ndio tunamaliza kupitisha regulation zao. Kwa hivyo si makosa kwamba hata tukiweka kwa sheria kwamba lazima walete regulation kwa muda wa miezi 6, haitawezekana, kwa sababu tukiangalia masuala ya public participation, tukiangalia masuala ya kuzichambua zile regulation mpaka tuone kwamba ziko sawa, mambo ya mashauriano baina ya ofisi ya mkuu wa sheria na wizara, yote inachukua muda kiasi ambacho haiwezekani kufanyika kwa miezi 6, lakini ni swala ambalo linaweza kuwekwa katika sheria hiyo. Mheshimiwa Spika, nilikuwa nazungumzia kwamba CDC sasa tunajaribu kuwapa watoto wetu viparakatanishi, yani tabs zile na laptops. Hatuwezi kuwa tuwapeleka katika teknolojia alafu huku nyuma tunawaregesha kwenye analog ya kusukuma wheelbarrow, ya kufanya mambo kienyeji. Saona? Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, njia pekee yake ya kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba kaunti zetu zinasonga mbele ni namaliza Mheshimiwa.
Order. Please take your seat, Senator. Honorable Senator Faki, you have 5 minutes. So when we come back, you will have 5 minutes to wind up. Honorable Senators, it's now 12:30 p.m., time to adjourn the House. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, the 16th February 2022 at 2:30 p.m.
Mount Kilimanjaro, an icon of Africa, and for centuries a mystic destination for adventurers and explorers. In this series, CCTV Africa will attempt to take you to the top of this beautiful and dangerous mountain and look at what makes it such a draw to so many people around the world each year. Kilimanjaro is many things to many people. It's a fragile ecosystem, and it's also a place of work for the thousands of people who live on its slopes. It's a journey of stamina fraught with hazards and extreme conditions at every turn.
Good job.
somewhere out there